Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan.
Yo-ho.
Right off the bat.
Right off the top.
Right off the top. I'm going to skim off the top.
Mm-hmm.
Because we filmed the episode with Ethan, like directly after episode 234, question mark? Is that what that was? Yeah, it was.
It's hard to keep track.
Yeah. Ethan's episode was 235. So we had 234 had just released, and then we filmed it directly after that with him.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're give or take a week or two out from that.
Mm-hmm.
By the time that this is being recorded, the day before,
Been a minute.
It feels like we haven't done this in 2 weeks.
It always does.
It always does, but specifically when moments like that happen, where we are on the spot, with a record, and our week gets hectic.
Mm-hmm. Everything else happens.
Everything else falls in place. Specifically, it's moments like that where we have it's not 7 days. It's more like maybe 9 or 10 or closer to 14. And you're like, man, I feel like we haven't done this in what feels like a long time.
It's always a forgotten art.
Yeah. But as we always do, we watch something fun and we sit down and we yap about it because that's what we do best.
Big yap.
Big yapping. I have some interesting and fun things to talk about that I'll save towards the end. But right off the bat, for any of you listening that have come in from the past few episodes, because again, I've seen some numbers trend up in some interesting platforms and things like that on the back end. So welcome for anybody that is new to this show. We've been doing this for a long time, or what feels like a long time for us. You can subscribe on YouTube or on all the major podcasting platforms. You can type in at Hindsight Studios on YouTube and stuff like that, and you can like the videos. You can subscribe there. You can comment on Spotify now as well. So YouTube, Spotify. I try and keep in touch. I try to keep a open conversation on those platforms. So it's been pretty fun, and I would love to hear from you guys and love to hear some interactions if you actually do enjoy what you have heard, or imagine that, what you're about to hear.
Right.
It has been, it's been a without going into detail, because I will. First of all, if I can speak English,
we'll get there.
We'll say that for later. But it has been just a great, productive and busy week on my part. But I know for you as well, it's also been pretty busy. And just like I think we have said at the first part of this Mobile Suit Police Patlabor part that we've done a couple episodes ago, I think we said the very same thing at the top of that episode, if I'm not mistaken. Again, probably. It's been a few weeks, so I've slept since then, as my dad used to say. Is that this is just such a nice show.
It's perfect.
And after having, again, a very busy, very productive week, to be able to sit down.
Let's just pay this old Hall of Famer a visit.
Yeah. And just to kind of relax for a minute and yuck it up with a friend over a nice, comfortable show I love it. We watched another.
Couldn't be better.
We watched another 2 episodes of the OVA of, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's called Mobile Police Patlabor: The Early Days when I looked at it online, but I'm not. Again, I was kind of having some discrepancies as to what the actual OVA, because I think on the box case it just says the original OVA
series. Yeah.
All right. So I've titled that as the episodes as the early days, but if you can't find it, then I'm sorry.
Too fucking bad.
It is what it is. So we watched episode 3 and 4. And man, these were
I fucking love these episodes so much.
If 1 and 2 was the foundation and a little more serious, this is where they just let it loose.
Oh yeah, they go crazy with it.
This is where they had fun.
So,
I loved. I'm not gonna lie, 4 was nice, but I really loved 3.
4 is probably my absolute favorite. But man, so 3,
nice.
is so fucking. They're both hilarious. They really hammer it home with the comedy.
Oh yeah, really campy in the right ways. I feel like.
So, the third episode starts with a scene out of an old horror flick.
Yeah.
This couple goes out to the pier, parks their car, and they're about to make out.
Mm-hmm.
But before that happens, the guy goes to grab a drink. And while he's gone, the car disappears.
Ain't nothing like pre-sex Coke. And I'm not talking about the
Evidently.
drugs. I'm talking about Coca-Cola. He chugs that bitch. He goes,
Yeah, in one fucking gulp.
and
then he's like on his way back. It's like, hey, sorry it took so long. As if it didn't just chug a Coke.
Yeah.
Like you could do that.
You're going to have the bubble guts.
You're going to burp for like a minute straight.
Let me stick my tongue in your mouth and burp at this.
God.
Oh God,
disgusting. I'm glad she disappeared.
I said that, and I didn't like the fact that I said that when I said it.
It's okay. You can edit it out. Anyway,
I won't. I'll own my mistakes.
Right. So he comes back. Car's gone.
Right.
Along with his date.
Yeah.
So we get the private eye.
Oh,
the well-known and well-respected Detective Matsui.
Yes.
On the case.
I love that character.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best supporting characters in the series.
Yeah.
Based solely on just how much he does.
Yeah.
For the SP2 and Goto.
I also like just his outfit too. He's got the brown suit coat, white button up. Just a pretty plain looking guy, but it's like it just feels
knows his stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But he describes the scene.
Right.
And they were able to deduce that there were tire marks on the pier.
Right.
That went sideways.
Yeah. As if something pushed it or
grabbed it and dragged it into the ocean.
Right. And then of course everyone's getting all like
antsy, like what the fuck happened?
What do you mean pulled into the pier? What?
Yeah. So they are already able to find the girl washed up ashore,
lucky enough.
A couple a day after, I want to say.
Yeah.
But of course they they come to the conclusion that this could be some sort of giant sea creature.
Right.
In some shape or form.
It's in the Tokyo Bay.
Right. So Matsui requests their assistance in trying to figure out what the deal is.
Yeah.
And he recruits Shige and good old the chief mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
Sakaki. They take a remote-controlled marine labor.
Talk about, first of all, his character, the head mechanic.
Chief Sakaki.
Just the definition of stoicism.
The best.
Just nothing breaks me.
Mm-hmm. So they get them to pilot a marine labor into the bay. They're able to scour the depths. Yeah. They find the car that's just hanging out.
Yeah, right.
And then they pick something up, some kind of movement. They see a couple things here and there.
Right.
But as they turn to face towards wherever this thing is supposedly coming from, it creeps up behind them and absolutely destroys the labor.
Yeah.
Rips it to pieces. So, of course, the news is all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Instantly.
Yeah. Giant underwater sea creature destroys police labor.
Right. And I want you to think in your mind, in the Japanese zeitgeist, what other underwater giant sea creature of some kind does this remind you of?
I don't know.
I'm going to plant that seed right there.
Maybe like a whale.
Yeah, you're right.
A gorilla of sorts.
Well, I wasn't going to think gorilla. I was thinking more reptilian.
Oh, no. It's a play on the name. Yeah. Anyway, so
the funny. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. Anyway, so they put together a committee to try to figure out how to stop this thing, but not before Noah and Shinohara encounter a relatively crazed doctor.
Yeah,
if you could even call him that.
I would.
Yeah, no.
An eye patch. Yeah,
dude. After you see the kind of shit he pulled off, God.
Right.
So he drags them along, confides in them that he is evidently the progenitor of this supposed monster.
Right.
After he was just experimenting, trying to prove an old theory about how life originated on the Earth.
Right.
How it just came from like a space-born like microorganism.
Right.
Or at least a few of them. So he finds one of these old meteorites, cracks it open, finds those microorganisms in suspended animation.
Right.
And then just decides for the heck of it to nurture and grow these things to see where they go.
Exactly.
And he's real in-depth about it, too. He, like, edits their genes and shit, just pushes them along in whichever direction, evolution-wise, to see what they turn into.
Some real Jurassic Park type stuff.
Yeah. And as it progresses, he realizes that it's starting to adapt and evolve on its own.
Yep.
Beyond what he's able to control.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets scared and throws it away.
Yep.
Just into the bay.
What a real human response.
Yeah, that's you great. Good job, buddy. You've created a monster.
Yep. I feel like throughout history that has happened many times.
Oh, I'm sure.
An accident happens, an outbreak happens, and then before you know, they're just like, "I just get rid of it." And I'm like, well, we can't. It's now an outbreak now.
Yep. You've broken it out.
Yeah, it is now broken out. It's everywhere.
Yep. So, needless to say, he's on his hands and knees begging for their help.
Right.
And as they're just, they've moved out, the SV2,
right,
by the bay, because he knows that apparently it's going to come back because of its own, like, homing instinct, like more than a few animals have. They're just chilling out in like one of the command centers trying to figure out different plans.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah. So at first, they think to set up some sort of electric tripwire net in the bay itself, which seems like a good idea. They'll be able to paralyze it at the very least and maybe capture it alive. But not before killing several thousands of fish within the bay area that would very negatively affect the trout population, if you know what I mean.
Yep. Not the trout. Come on.
So that plan's a no-go.
Yeah.
Next.
I love this too because it goes like black screen, white text, like, here's the next plan.
Right. Accompanied by a very familiar roar.
A very familiar roar.
Yes. If you're acquainted with this giant monster genre in any capacity, like we are.
A kaiju of some sort of, I don't know.
Great rapport.
Yes.
Well known by the masses.
Yeah. Especially.
Well destroyed by the masses.
Well destroyed by the Japanese masses.
Mm-hmm. But barring that, they come up with another idea.
And may I say, before we get to this point in the episode as well, there is a moment where, what is the mechanic's name? Not the head one, but the guy with the glasses. Shige, like after witnessing the like destruction of that marine labor,
he becomes detached.
I have never seen him get this serious. And he gets real serious and is like, this is not just some whale.
Right.
This is something big.
Rattles off the model number of that labor and says that thing ain't so flimsy to be taken out by a fucking whale.
Nah. This is some sort of big reptilian creature from the Cretaceous.
At least 13 to 14 meters tall.
Yeah, from the Cretaceous period.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you in the audience who have never seen or been involved in the Godzilla franchise, is strikingly similar.
It's kind of a niche thing. I don't think many people are going to
probably
know about it right away.
I feel like the Venn diagram between people who probably have watched or know a bit about Godzilla and
it is extremely
and have watched
lopsided.
And have watched this podcast or listened to this podcast. I think there is a pretty good cross section in the middle of people. And I'm not talking to those. I'm talking to the ones that have listened to this and have not seen Godzilla. Those who know. That description fits Godzilla. So for a hot minute, I'm like,
he basically read that from the script of the original film.
100%. And I'm sitting here thinking, is this going to be a Patlabor and Godzilla crossover?
Of course.
Anyways, flash forward, as you're saying, of course, they're doing all these different things. And again, I'm waiting to see Godzilla pop about
of course,
out of the bay.
Evidently, as far as we know, he could just show up at any moment.
Yeah.
But Noah approaches them with the idea to possibly reason with the creature.
Right.
To which the scientist replies with one of the many rebuttals he's had for every single one of these plants so far.
Right.
Being that, what if he recognizes me, doesn't like what I did, in that I created him, and sees me as a fucking reminder of the dark past that I put him through. So...
which I mean, not a bad thing.
A seemingly sensible excuse.
A seemingly sensible excuse.
But of course, everyone else isn't buying it. Like,
no,
dude,
no.
That's our best bet. Like, you're the only thing this creature could possibly recognize.
Yeah.
So, before they're able to really settle on something, they they're able to take a little patrol boat out into the bay. And they just so happen to come upon Shige, who is in a full diving suit.
Yep.
Holding a replica of the oxygen destroyer.
The one and only.
From Godzilla.
And this moment happens, and I was like, this is it.
Right.
This is going to be a Godzilla crossover. Yep. He pulls out the one and only, the first bomb to ever take out Godzilla.
He doesn't even say what it is.
No, he doesn't have to.
Shinohara recognizes it and rattles off what it does and what it's called.
And I'm like, yo, what the hell is
happening?
Fuck? Like, first of all, nice. Right. Second of all, how the hell did you get that?
Well, the fucker just ordered it online. Plastic tube full of dry ice.
Yeah, you know how it is.
And the chief, of course, realizing that he might pull some stupid shit like this, followed him and just pops out of the below deck of the boat. And just like, put that fucking thing down and get back here.
Or so help me.
So after he tries to restrain him, he ends up dropping it in the water.
Of course.
And it just bubbles for a little bit, and then as soon as it hits the ground, an explosion, is what I could only describe it as, happens, and the creature immediately starts rising to the surface.
Yeah.
So everybody gets ready. Goto starts freaking out about the riot gun that he didn't authorize them to bring. Before they set out, Kanaka told Ota to get the shells loaded and then just take the riot gun with him.
Right.
And he's like, you got clearance? Yeah. And she's like, I'm going to take full responsibility.
Yep.
But you better only fire when I say so. And he's like, yes, ma'am. Right. So she's on that better to ask forgiveness than permission type beat.
Just in case this is Godzilla, we better have some firepower.
Some anti-Godzilla weaponry. What was it called? The fucking doesn't exist machine?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So after that happens, it slowly starts making its way to the bay, and everybody starts freaking out, of course. Getting their guns ready and shit. But as it rises from the water, it's not outwardly hostile. It's just kind of
chilling,
moseying around, looking around, seeing what's what.
And it's I will say it's not Godzilla-esque.
No.
It's very ape-like.
It's almost like
it's a little amphibious.
One of the gargantuans from some of the Toho films as well.
Oh, okay.
Like,
really?
Pretty, like, very similar.
Interesting. The ones they probably had the license to actually use.
Exactly, yeah. But everyone looks at this thing's face, and Noah immediately says, Hiromi, because it looks just like him.
Yeah.
And everybody's like frozen in shock.
Yeah.
But Hiromi like runs up to the thing and just stares at it.
Oh yeah.
And then it looks down, sees him, and starts staring back like, what
the?
That's me.
You're me. You're a small me.
Right. Shinohara's got like a narration going like, there's no telling what sort of exchange of souls happened between the two.
Oh yeah.
But it went on for a good while. A little amount of time turned into a lot. And after a while, the monster just sort of sits up, turns around, and just walks into the ocean.
There you go.
And that's it.
That's that. At that point, it really feels like that he was having some sort of telekinesis with him. But it really is just
to giant communication.
Yeah, exactly. The biggest character, and also like funny enough, kind of the most loving character to a lot of the animals in the series. It just like stands there, looks at it like, I'm one with this creature.
Yeah. And
that's all it took.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you know what?
They reached a level of mutual understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Hiromi's just a new type with animals.
Yeah, 100%.
Doesn't even need to elaborate at all.
Love it. And that's like we
and
said,
that's it.
And that's it.
That's the extent of that episode. Yep. It's fucking hilarious.
It's funny. Yeah, it's wacky. It's great. And you're like, okay, the closest thing to a Godzilla crossover we'll probably get.
Right.
And it's wonderful.
Based on what we're used to in the series, we'll have like maybe like one ghost episode,
right?
Where they'll go to some sort of haunted place, or a straight up monster will show up.
Yeah,
and they'll fight it for a bit, and then they'll destroy it or stave it off somehow.
Right.
But this was like their first foray. They were just establishing like the boundaries of what.
Oh yeah.
What kind of crazy shit they wanted to do.
How serious is this?
We got a mad scientist who created a fucking evolution monster
with an eye patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as if that's not.
God.
Oh
okay,
yeah, please. Right after that, we go into episode 4.
This is one of my favorite openings to an episode I have ever seen.
Oh yeah.
We got a hold-up situation.
Yep.
Hostages.
Yep.
2 kids with a gun holding up this video store clerk.
Right.
And they've got the entire riot squad, as well as Special Vehicles Section 2.
Yeah.
Of which every member looks either super on edge, tired. Yeah. Goto especially, he's just in his car looking up.
Which is kind of like, the funny thing is, because of how this show goes, it's kind of par for the course.
Oh yeah.
Because we get to see their like day in and day out life, you get to see, or at least in the show, this OVA as well as the Patlabor show, maybe not so much the movies, but like, because it is kind of a day in the life, slice of life type anime,
right?
You get those moments where it's like, oh, just I'm tired. Like when you get
a shitty day at work.
Exactly. Like the pre-episode, like the first act of some of these episodes is like, oh my gosh, like we're so tired. We got this, we got that, or some inconvenience happens, and then you go like into the act 2 of it as them like doing work. At the same time, being like, oh gosh, I'm just. Yeah. And so this episode,
I'm so fucking done with this.
Exactly. This, which is, I mean, very relatable. So this episode, it feels like it starts off that way, but it's like, hey,
yeah, I'm here for it.
I'm here for it.
It's one of my absolute favorites.
It's fun, which is why I think it's because it feels real, even though it's very disconnected from reality in a lot of other aspects. Giant monsters, ghosts, giant robots. Just a bunch of police officers like to deal with a hostage situation.
So this dude with the megaphone, part of the riot squad, is just on his fucking soapbox, rattling off like catchphrase after catchphrase, metaphor after metaphor,
right?
About how fucked they are and how they should just turn over a new leaf and turn themselves in.
Yeah.
And of course, they're having none of it. They got one of the dude's mom out with a microphone, trying to plead with him to come down.
Yeah, please.
And he's just fucking like, "Where's our 10 million yen? Getaway bikes and box lunches?" Like the most idiotic demands possible.
So dumb.
And you see a shot of Ota in this cockpit, absolutely seething.
Oh, bruh.
Because out of every type of criminal that he has to deal with, this is probably his least favorite and most hated.
Right.
Because if we cut to a shot of Goto just sitting in the car, and Kanaka comes over the radio saying Unit 2's requested permission to fire, after which he responds, "Rein him in."
Rein him in.
They're just going back and forth. It's like it's never going to end. So
permission to fire.
Exactly, yeah. After a while, Ota can't take it anymore, and he just fucking snaps.
Oh, yeah.
Charges the building, shoves his revolver into the building.
Yes.
And just straight up fires.
Hell
like,
yeah.
let's loose. Like, it's no big deal.
Which, by the way, this gun is obviously is held and is a revolver held by a giant.
It's the size of a small car.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So when he says the barrel of the gun is shoved through the building, it is encapsulating the 2 sliding glass doors, and it's just yeah.
And he destroys.
Oh yeah,
basically the entire building.
Yeah,
and it cuts to everybody else Goto has stepped out of the car
Yep.
and is wide-eyed, just in absolute disbelief.
Right.
That one of his officers, the one most likely
100%.
to happen,
Yes.
the fucking worst case scenario has occurred.
Right.
So he assembles his entire unit into the office and is like, what the fuck do you think this is?
Yes.
We're police officers. What do you think you're piloting? Great Mazinger? Dangayo?
Uh-oh.
I don't fucking think so. This isn't some sort of kiddie robot anime with where the main character is some autistic kid. He says that, by the way. That's
crazy.
word for word.
Yeah.
So, right. He nails them with a suspension.
Right.
And he's sending them back to their old training grounds at Mountain Fuji.
Right.
So, of course, everybody's elated and super happy. It's like an impromptu vacation. And they make their way there after getting one of the trailers stuck in the mud on one of the highways.
Right.
They're just sitting in front of the building, covered in mud, dirty as could be.
Yep.
And Noah says, they've got a guy that looks like Mr. Goto here. And it just cuts to him standing in front of them, and it's like, it's me.
What do you mean?
What are you doing here? It's like they roped me into your fucking re-education since they didn't want to take any risks of you getting stale, goofing off and whatnot. So now he's stuck there with them.
Yeah.
And as they just start to unwind, go through different like training regiments and stuff,
Right.
getting their basics like back under the belt. They, at one point, they're in the bathhouse, yucking it up, and they just so happen to overhear the ladies on the other side.
Right.
And amazingly, like very surprisingly, Shinji and Shinohara get the bright idea to try to get some peeping done. After which they convince Hiromi to restrain Ota. Basically strangle him so he doesn't fly off the handle and stop them. But before that happens, of course they wise up to it, and Kanaka immediately grabs her fucking 1911.
Yeah, dude, I love that.
Fire off a couple rounds just to give him a scare.
Always strapped.
But they hear Shinji scream.
Yeah.
And she's just out of it immediately and starts rushing next door to see what the issue is. Takes aim at like a prone position past the door.
Yeah.
Sees Ota floating in the bath in what could only be described as blood.
Yeah.
Until they figure out what it is.
Right. A real scary situation to start off with.
Mm-hmm. No idea how it happened.
Right.
After that, Goto just sticks some of that shit in his mouth, and he's like, well, it's not blood.
Yeah, right. Everyone's like,
it's fucking disgusting.
What are you doing? That's crazy.
They figure out that it's paint.
Right.
One specifically used for paint rounds for mock battles for labors. So, until they're able to figure out how this happened and who done it.
Who done it,
Right. Goto puts very specific restrictions on them. They're not allowed to move around at night outside of the rooms. No staying up late. No looking outside the windows or anything like that.
Right.
For some reason, though, it's already a little suspicious. No ghost stories, no pillow fights.
Yeah.
And Ota goes to wash his face in the middle of the night, and he hears a voice saying, don't shoot, please don't shoot.
Yeah.
So, I love the tension in this scene, by the way. It's dead silent. That's all you hear.
And it is like, it sounds like a female voice.
Right. He whips around. There's nobody there, of course.
Right.
But as he's washing his hands, he slowly lifts them up, and they're covered in hair.
Yeah.
Like super long strands of hair.
It's scary.
He hears the voice again, looks forward past the window.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking ghost girl.
Yeah.
And of course,
pale white skin, like kind of like purplish hair, kind of colored.
He has a fucking heart attack.
I mean, you're right.
So he's passed out in the hallway after that shit.
Yeah.
And while the rest of the guys are in their room, they hear the sounds of a labor's footsteps.
Right.
Just out and about.
And again, the first logical thing, they're like, Ota or
the captain, they couldn't be piloting it. There's
no way.
Right. So they look out the window, and they see a moss and like seaweed covered labor just slowly coming towards the window.
Yeah.
And as it gets closer,
oh man,
some of the moss falls off in front of the cockpit, and you see the skeletalized remains of a pilot jut out.
You like slump forward.
Oh yeah,
and it's very detailed.
And
it's kind of
freaky.
It's kind of creepy because like when it happens, it's like I mean, I wasn't scared, but it just like it is unsettling to look at.
Don't like that.
No, it's like that's not fun. That's actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah, not a fan.
No.
So after that,
at this point, it feels like we're going through like the plagues,
right?
Of like everyone's had their everyone's going through their
different
their trials.
stripes.
Yeah, the stripes. Yeah.
So all the guys are convinced that there's some sort of spookery afoot,
of course,
and that a ghost or someone pretending to be a ghost is playing tricks on them.
Of course.
So Shinohara, being the somehow natural detective that he is, like he's usually the kind of guy to like realize that some of this stuff is up or that somebody else could be behind this.
Right.
Not that they didn't make it kind of obvious, but he ends up like ditching a training session with Noah to just like go to a little convenience store and grab some drinks or some shit.
Which may I say, this training scene has what is the captain's name?
Goto.
Goto's in this car leading everyone as they're like jogging up the hill, and he's like, "Come on, here
Marching
we go.
rounds.
Left, right, left, right,
Right.
left."
He just starts mixing it up just for shits and giggles.
Right, left, right, left, and it's like, it's so funny.
And immediately he's like, "Haven't you noticed like the captain hasn't been acting like himself lately?
Yeah,
like he's trying to hide something from us." So after he runs into this old man he apparently knew when he was younger, while they were training back in the old days,
right,
he realizes that he is like clued into whatever the fuck is going on.
Right.
He recognizes the clerk who's working there as well as a young girl who is the spitting image of the ghost that Ota described.
Right. But less pale and purple and more brunette.
Like a normal human.
Yeah, right.
So after that, he interrogates the old man, puts him in a headlock, stomps on his balls, cock and ball torture.
Cock and ball torture, dude. I didn't know it was into that sort of thing.
Right. So after we cut back, everybody has been asked to meet up in the old classroom by Shinohara and Noah. And he brings in every single bit of evidence possible, like dead giveaway type shit. There's a skeleton mask. There's a fucking old like practice round that is one of the paint rounds. It's like everything, every single clue that Phoenix Wright would need to fucking nail a case.
Right.
And, he describes it all in like perfect detail. They can only assume that Mr. Gen, this possibly
he's in on it in some way,
accomplice that they haven't seen or heard from, is probably either the culprit or a suspect at the very least.
Right.
And it's nothing concrete. It's just like all of the makings of what they saw.
Right.
They weren't able to narrow anything down except for Kanaka.
Of course.
Kanaka's deductive reasoning, I'm talking like super in-depth deductive reasoning, like square one type shit. She works through the whole damn scenario like it's nothing. And of course, she poses it like a hypothetical, of course.
Right.
Just so she's not naming any names. But then she she nails down Goto as like, it's like, look, I realize you put this together to make us reevaluate how we used our guns and what they're supposed to be used for in every scenario. But what the fuck were you thinking? Can't agree with your methods, bro. This is some Scooby-Doo type shit. So
and I would have had you too if it wasn't for that meddling kid.
Right. He retorts with, well, I mean, it's all pretty much just conjecture on your part, right? You've got no hard evidence.
Right.
And then the girl, the store clerk, just runs right into the room all happy-go-lucky, stands right next to Kanaka, and is like, let me reintroduce our guest. This is, what's her name? Goto.
Yeah.
Our captain's niece.
No way.
And she's like, sorry, Uncle, she got to me. She was super good. And he immediately stands up, is dead silent, deadpan faced like we're used to for a split second.
Yeah.
And then he bows his head and said, I'm sorry. And then everybody just starts ragging on his ass. Ota pulls out his fucking gun and is about to shoot him.
Oh, man.
It's so fucking hilarious.
Leave it to Ota to just pull out a gun.
Mm-hmm. The most hilarious part of it to me was that Captain Naguma was in it too.
Yeah.
Like, the most trustworthy... That's how Kaneko describes it, too. Like, nobody would suspect the most trustworthy people you know to lie to you and pull some sort of prank like this on you.
Of course.
But if it's to teach you a lesson...
Oh, yeah.
they'll resort to whatever means necessary.
These are some great episodes.
It's hilarious. It's so convoluted.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I so far, again... Even though I've never seen this OVA, I've seen these characters in this setting before.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so nice to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
So nice to feel these feelings again.
Like an old summer home.
Yeah. Well, again, when you think about it, at least from my perspective, when we first watched the series, that's where we were.
Mm-hmm. God, that was such.
Fuck.
This happens every time. We can't.
Come on.
It's a good show. It's a
great show. Mm-hmm. It's a great show. And, and again, we were literally in a form of paradise when we watched.
It was so nice.
It was a great experience,
so nice.
and I love stories like that that tie along with the first watching of certain movies and certain things. I really enjoy that when you can. Not only can you imagine like what was going on in your life,
you associate it with a certain time in your life,
right? Or again, a lot of times I make certain tea or whatever for like certain shows that we watch. So I'll brew that, and it reminds me like, oh man, all the best shows I brewed this kind of tea with, and so it's like just smelling it brings it back a little bit.
It's the same reason we brew divinity.
Oh yeah. I've kind of trademarked my own method of brewing a certain kind of a tea that's like a certain flavor. It's a certain type of chai tea, and it just has.
It's so good.
With it being chai, it has this kind of like,
almost like a cinnamon type flavor.
Yeah, like an allspice kind of vibe. So it's very warm and cozy, and it's nice. And so when it has that smell of like, ooh, this is cozy,
right?
And so to think about that in relation to like certain shows that also give that, just smelling it's like, oh, it just brings me back.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
I brewed that. I mean, there's so many shows that I did that for as well.
Chamomile, I think, specifically reminds me of Zeta and Wing.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the one I drank the most of while we were watching this.
Interesting. That's fun. I do the same thing with...
The good old Camille chamomile.
Yeah, there you go. That's funny.
Yeah. It's a man's tea, and I'll prove it.
I remember, like, the first few times that, like, I started the trend of Oreos while we were watching a show, I believe was with...
It had to have been Wing, right?
I think it was, maybe, but
No, Zeta.
I distinctly remember, I maybe because it was other reasons, but I distinctly remember Trigun.
Oh,
we watched Trigun, we watched Gun X Sword, and those specifically, I have like a fond memory of like, I remember having Oreos with those.
Yeah.
And for some reason it feels foundational, but you're right though. It could have been also Wing or Zeta, because those were also such long running series as well. But anyways,
it just kind of became a staple.
I had a realization that I was like, I really just enjoy an original Oreo in some milk, and I was like, I don't.
It's a classic.
It's a classic, and I hadn't had it in so long, and I remember I bought some at the store. And I made tea. We watched a show, and it was cozy like it always was. It was comfortable, and I was like,
always
oh man, let's go ahead and get this nice little treat.
Get the show on the road.
Yeah. So I love that. And this show is one of them as well.
Oh yeah,
where I get the chance.
Always a good time.
Yeah, I will never forget on the road trip out to Florida, which is where we were when we watched this. We also went to Walmart and like stocked up on snacks, dude.
All the goodies.
I mean, so we had our luggage. Excuse me, got the hiccups. We had all of our luggage, but then like we reserved a portion of the trunk that was like snacks and goodie, or not the trunk, the like back seat where you were residing at.
Right.
So like we just had like a plethora of.
That was the hoarder.
It was great. I think you were you were Smaug on the snack dragon over there on your hoard of goodies.
Right.
But with that, I remember we had like. And we had like a family suite. So we had like a full kitchen, full living room. It was so super cool. So we had like our counter with all of our treats on it and things like that. And so, and then we also, the place we were at in Florida, we like got, it was like a hot dog place. We got those hot dogs, and then we got like the ice cream or whatever. One of the nights, I forgot what it was, but it was one of those nights where you took a picture out in front of the Stonehenge head.
Oh yeah,
we like walked down to get.
I remember we had gotten pizza.
I think you got some sort of like chili out of a bag or whatever, something crazy like that.
Okay, yes, I remember now.
I think I got some sort of like Chicago dog or whatever, and we walked down there a couple blocks and got it, came back. One of the nights you got Pizza Hut or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude.
God, dude. I want some fucking Pizza Hut so bad. It's been so long.
It's been a while.
I got stuffed crust too. That shit was phenomenal.
Oh, dude. And you want to talk about like a blast from the past, dude. The interior looked like the old one from like the 90s. I was like, well, there's like a whole
it hadn't aged a fucking day.
I know. And I was like,
we found a lot of old shit down there, and it was cool.
It was so cool.
That's where I got my copy of Predator 2.
You're right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they only had the dual pack.
You're right. I forgot about that.
I had to give away my other copy of Predator.
Wow, dude. How fun.
Yeah. They had that old Xbox, like original Xbox demo stand.
Yeah.
With the console like locked behind the glass and shit, dude.
Love that.
Oh, man.
What a vibe. We got to go back out to Florida, man.
Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed.
Yeah. I got to take you out to Houston.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude.
It's been forever since we've been to Texas.
You're right. Dude.
I'll never forget that first trip, bro. That was so much fun.
Right. And when I tell you, I want you to see this big mall, dude. This mall's huge, man.
I have to.
And there's so many cool things in there. It's a really cool place.
Sweet.
I think it's called the Galleria. It's so big and so nice.
Damn.
But anyways, as I said at the top of the episode, some of the things I want to talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
Over the course of this past weekend, I got the opportunity to play with a band that I got to play.
A gig.
I got to play bass on stage for the first time in probably a couple of years at this point. Because of the job I've taken and the fact that I was in a relationship and all that kind of stuff, like there were other things that took priority. And so like music, obviously I was doing kind of some freelance stuff in the past. And now that I've got a more stable job, and again, I was like, other relationship stuff was going on and all that. It was just like, the hobby really did become just like a hobby that I was doing on the side, and it kind of took a back seat, sad to say. But
no longer.
As I have said, I believe I didn't go into full detail, but I think what I have said on the podcast was after coming back from that show in Houston, having that desire to play music, and this opportunity came up, I was like, I can't say no.
Gotta go for it.
It just, I have, this is the energy that I've been putting out in the universe. This is what
the universe has answered.
Exactly. This is what I've been praying for, where I'm like, God, just give me an opportunity, please.
Like,
and then, of course, exactly. And I was like, well, all right, I'll take it. So even though like I've only played with this group like once or twice, maybe, I got the set list of probably 10 songs or so, a little less than an hour, a few weeks in advance. And like none of it was super, super difficult that I couldn't figure it out. And we had a lot of opportunities to practice. So I was like, I have a good feeling that given enough practice and enough communication, I think we could really nail this.
Oh yeah, shake out pretty smooth.
Yeah. And the headliner is like a pretty big named band. And so like I was like, this is going to be a cool opportunity, if nothing else, to be able to be an opening act for a big band again, and just play music, dude. And so I did just that. I got all
Once you finish, you look on stage and it's big band.
yeah.
Oh man!
And here's our headliner, big band.
Right.
So yeah, it was just this. Like I said, it's a crazy opportunity, and I didn't want to say no. And after playing the music over the course of the past couple of days, it has been. It's really just been relighting that fire all over again. Where I'm like, man, I got to lock in with some new musicians. A lot of the old musician friends that I had, I used to play with a really cool drummer, and he moved away to Nashville to go follow his dreams. And it was around the same time that I moved away to Canada. So it's we both kind of like did our own thing. It kind of went away and all that stuff. So by the time I got back home after living in Canada for a couple of years, it really was like, I don't really have the group that I was a part of kind of disbanded, and they're not around here anymore.
Yeah.
So now and I think that's also what's kind of stopped me from playing more than I have in the past. It's like not having a group. So anyways, I got the chance to practice, and I've been looking into buying myself some new toys.
Really?
Yeah, I got some fret wraps. I got some other nice cables and things for my guitar, and like this things that I have wanted for myself, but like I can't justify spending the like $40 or $50 on it because I'm like I don't play enough, or I haven't in the past, or I don't have a group or people to play with. So I'm like, why would I could spend the money on it, but I'm like, I could spend it on something else.
Yeah,
it's kind of the mentality I have. But now that I was playing again, I was like, oh man, I gotta.
There you go.
Okay, here we go. Let's get some new toys. I want to get myself a bass amp, and there's one in mind. A BAMP. And I think it looks really cool. And it's got a cool name as well called Portaflex.
Dude,
sounds legit.
She be porting on my flex.
Yeah, until I amp it. So anyways, it's a pretty cool little amp that I think would be nice to just kind of travel around with and stuff. So
nice.
Looking into all that stuff, but that's all side stuff.
Yeah.
Getting the ability to just lock in with some musicians again. The group, the lead singer is also the drummer a lot of times, or in this group specifically.
Yeah.
There's two lead singers, a male and a female vocalist. And so he was saying, like, the lead vocalist was like, I don't want to be in the drum cage. I want to be out on the stage to perform for this show. So he hired out a drummer, and then of course he hired out me, wanting to, be the bass player that I have been for them in the past because they don't have one. And so being able to meet that drummer, I was like, oh man, it made me feel all the feelings again of like playing with a really cool drummer. I was like, oh, I miss this.
Yeah.
So I
got that drummer buff.
Dude, and like a bass player and a drummer just like locking in and like having fun really sets the tone for like the other musicians to, I think, also have fun, because like once you have that foundation locked in, it's just so
golden.
It's so good. So we got there early. We're in like a beautiful in this like community area, in like this part of town. There's like a lot of new development stuff. A lot of new restaurants, a lot of like there's like a big new apartment complex.
The whole shebang.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that's like opening up. So it's new development, and it looks really nice. And they have this big open field that, like, I think they probably, if I was to guess, they probably built that specifically to be like a community area. They got a big
set up for venues.
Exactly.
Just be like a little park.
So they had like a huge like market going on. Like a bunch of like local businesses were out there selling stuff. custom made things and all the goodies that were out there for a good portion of the day. And then on the far end was the stage that we were on. And it was a nice covered stage, big sound system. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool.
Perfect.
We got there early enough, did sound check and all that. And then we performed our set. And, man, I miss that feeling.
Yeah.
I miss that feeling of like playing on stage and just like, and I think I have slowly learned over the course of the past couple of years, and I think that this podcast has helped me realize that, along with other things in my life, that like I really love performing.
Yeah.
I think at one point in time I was nervous about it, or I wasn't. I think I liked it, but I was just not confident enough. Now at this stage of my life and how old I am and things I've been through and all that stuff, I have really, really realized, man, I love when the spotlight's on and I need to perform. Yeah. I love that. And that day really showed. There's a few people, some friends of mine, some people in the community that I know, that they showed up and they were there supporting me, and it was so cool because like there were some of the people there that are they're great people. And I may not, some older men that are pretty stoic, that were like had the biggest grin.
Damn.
And they were like looking at me going like, hell yeah, dude. And they're like having fun pointing and like, and, you know, and they're just like jamming out as well. And I was like, oh, I love that. I love being able to like bring that out of somebody. Yeah. That's like the whole thing. And again, I won't get into, I've said this numerous times on this podcast. You get too artsy and all that kind of stuff. Right. But that's what I'm talking about by music, is like just, or art in any capacity, is just like evoking some emotion in somebody, and to be able to sit there and play some music and jam out and have people feel like they're part of a community and they're having fun, and you know, we're able to jam out, and it was cool. And to experience that emotion again, I was like, oh, it's so cool.
Nice breath of fresh air.
I talked to the drummer afterwards, and I told him, I was like, hey, man, like, I appreciate you.
Yeah, hit those drums real good.
You hit them real good, buddy. I know it. No, I was serious with him, and I was like, I told him, I was like, dude, I appreciate you like taking this opportunity to like come and play with us. Like, it was like you did such a great job. And he was like, man, every time you looked back at me, and we were locking in, he was like, dude, I had the biggest smile on my face because of how, because you hyped me up so much. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
Good shit.
That's the kind of energy that I want to bring to this, is I want to be able to look at, and again, and there's the same thing. The electric guitar player, he's an older gentleman. Again, pretty stoic guy. I mean, you know, he's very direct, very to the point.
Yeah. He
cracks some jokes every now and then. Every time I've ever played with him, he's got this biggest smile on his face, like he's having the time of his life. And I'm like, I love the fact that I can come onto a stage and we can all just like jam out and vibe, and that's the energy I'm pulling out of people.
Yeah,
is like whenever like, because I've been in some groups where that's been the opposite.
Oh no,
where a musician comes in and is very much a stickler and brings the mood down and kind of sucks all the energy out of the room, where we're all just like here to play, and that is what it is. And it's like, if that's the kind of the vibe you want to go for, and this is very serious, or that's the art direction you want to go in, that's fine. It's not really.
But you kind of a fucking downer. Could you smile or some shit?
Flatten my tire, bud. Anyway, so that's the thing. So out of the all of us, I think it was probably a group of like 6 or 7 musicians. To have like 2 of them that know me pretty well, but not they don't know me on a super deep personal level.
Yeah.
Afterwards, we're like, man, just having you on stage and like having you with us, you were just hyping me up, and we're like, and your presence here made this whole thing better. Is the kind of the synopsis I was getting. I was like, I love hearing that. As a musician, as a person who like has been wanting to do this for a while. Obviously, that's the kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
that's the kind of thing I want to hear. Obviously, as anybody doing, or you can apply that to your context and whatever it may be, whatever
it
that
would generally be a good thing to hear.
Right. It's like you came here and it got better. It's like, hell yeah,
it's
dude.
like, damn.
Yeah. And I
That's cool.
Yeah, right. And that's that's the thing I'm talking about is like we all played our part. We all did our job, and I think we all killed it at our specific instrument. And so I don't think any one of us was better than anyone else.
Yeah.
But it was just like whenever I left the event, I was like, man, I feel really good. And then of course, obviously I have ran shows in the past as a sound engineer and as like a stagehand. And like a lot of the friends and the family and the people in the community, they spoke highly of us because obviously they were there to support us.
Right.
So I take their compliments as with a bit of bias because I'm like, you came to see us. So because they're like, oh, you guys did so much better than the other because there was one other opener besides us. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 other openers besides us. There was 3 openers and then the headliner. So they were like, you guys did the best. And I was like, I appreciate that, Miss So-and-so, Mr. Who and who and what. Like
see you next week.
Yeah. Well, it's like, again, lovely comments and I lovely compliments. I love hearing that again. But for me, I'm obviously like, were we really the best? I don't know.
Yeah.
But the part that inflated my ego, bud, our sound engineer, as I have with every production, obviously being that guy before the sound engineer or the stagehand, whatever, it's nice to get some recognition. Yeah. It's nice because you're also working hard. You're also doing kind of an art form as well. So I always make it an effort, especially if I'm a musician. I always try to make their job easy as well. I want you to make me sound good. I'm gonna try my best to make it as easy for you to do that job. So I shook the hands of the sound engineer and the monitor technician, all that stuff. And I told him I appreciated your work and I think you did a great job. Like I thank you for being helpful and doing a great job.
Bang up.
Just sharing in the love and in the support. And they both this is what they both looked at me and they said, "No, thank you for not only being easy and not making our lives more difficult like some other groups, wink, wink, but also for coming prepared and being the best sounding of the opening acts." And the second that happened, I was like,
damn.
Ooh, you don't know who I am. You're not part of this community. You're not related to me in any way.
I'm a complete stranger.
You're a guy doing your job. And the second you told me that, I was like, all right, man. I don't know.
You got me at half jump, bro. Keep it up.
I left that. I left there going, because again, like I said, we've been practicing this for a handful of weeks. We've been putting our time in. We've all been busting our chops, and I think like I said, we all showed up and we all played our part, and I think it showed. And that's why I was saying. And I think we also had an energy and a love on stage that I think showed and permeated. It was a great crowd of people out there that was also
everything you could hope for.
It was all of it, and I was like, oh man. So that show was, I think, a blessing and a curse, a double-sided coin of because it went so well. There were some things that, like, some little minor hiccups that we probably could work out on, but again, nothing that was show-stopping or that was embarrassing.
Nothing
in
major.
Any way. Nothing major. So again, in that regard, beautiful.
Right. Perfect.
A+. Love it. On the other side, it's like I'm not going to perform with them. Like I'm not going to perform with them regularly.
Yeah.
So like I'm not. After that event, like that's kind of it.
Yeah.
For right now.
It's
so
a nice little experience to hang on to.
Exactly. So now I'm like I'm lit up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock and roll, bud. And now I'm like, well,
I rocked and I rolled.
Yeah. And now I'm kind of stuck in this kind of like, well, I got to find some other, that's what I'm saying about like the blessing and the curse thing. Like it was a great opportunity. I'm going to live on this high for a little while.
Yeah.
But I know that a certain, there is going to be a time in the not so distant future where I'm going to be like, okay, so where's the next, what's the next show?
I'm crashing. I'm going to crash.
I need that experience again of like playing music with people and having fun and jamming out. And anyways, so that was over the course of like again this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I should say, by the time this episode is releasing, last weekend, and yeah, it was a fun experience.
Good.
So yeah, I I had that, and then of course that was one facet of like a very full weekend.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
There was something. There was I had to work an event Friday morning, super early. I told you about that. I had to unlock the doors to the facility for someone who didn't show up. So I stayed there for a couple extra hours, and I was like,
nobody was there.
It's okay. Hey, it is what it is. But like, that event was really great. There's I played the show that Saturday, and then later that night, I'm a part of this group that has this like really special like service where we like all come together and like do this special thing. And I'm being vague on purpose,
right?
And so that Saturday was that service where it was just this like really awesome thing where the community all came out together and just like showed love to each other and was just super awesome. And again, like I mean, literally earlier that day was the show. Later that night was this thing. So it was like I'm just on cloud nine that whole Saturday. And Sunday I had a whole bunch of stuff going on and in this play I'm a part of and things like that. We're like really getting locked in with all the lights and the costumes. So it was like like I said, this whole weekend was like, I'm busy. I'm like that, and that's what I mean. As I said in the beginning of this podcast, I'm busy. I'm tired, but it's so it's productive.
It's worth it.
There's so many great things going on. I'm excited. I'm hoping that there's gonna be some new opportunities coming up. I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So who knows? But yeah, I'm. And you got the new Dragon Ball game.
Yes, I was able to get my hands on Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. And man,
I mean, beautiful game.
It is gorgeous.
Very pretty.
I am going to have to get used to it.
Right.
I've played as both Broly's.
Of course.
A little bit of Goku here and there.
Yeah.
And holy shit, it's fun.
The super moves
they're fantastic.
They're amazing.
Maximilian Dude already uploaded like an hour-long video rating each one.
Get out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also not surprised.
Of course. I'm going to be checking that shit out soon enough.
Yeah.
Man, it's fantastic.
It's a cool looking game.
I love the transformation mechanic.
Yeah.
Because normally in the only other like Dragon Ball fighting game I'm used to in Fighters, they don't have like, aside from Goku and Vegeta, they don't have characters with specific forms like as dedicated characters.
Right.
In this one, you're able to choose a base form.
Right.
And like a transformation.
Yeah.
Like of that character. But they also allow you to do real-time transformations in the middle of a fight. Right. Depending on where that like tree branches off into. Lord knows Goku has like 50 million iterations
of the guy. Course.
Every color of the fucking rainbow.
Yeah. Gonna be yellow, red, blue, or silver.
Right. I'm feeling pretty red right now.
Yeah.
But dude, no, green. Green's the way to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Is Goku have a green form?
No, Broly does.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Caveat. I knew about that one.
But yeah.
Go green or go home.
Dude, I'm telling you. Eat your fucking greens.
Yeah, buddy.
But man, the voice actors do a fantastic job as per usual.
Of course.
I say that because I play in subs and I just overall, like I got to be in a mood.
Right.
Of course. But overall, I think I prefer. Well, no, see, that's not fair because there are moments of the series I enjoy more in the dub than with subs. Specifically, Goku and Vegeta's initial like beam struggle whenever they first fight. Yeah, holy shit, that's one of the fucking best.
I like Vegeta's English voice actor,
dude. Chris Sabat
is so good.
Guy does a fantastic job.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I see Vegeta, that is the voice, like because it feels like it fits his character so well.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
he plays it so well.
Yeah.
But man,
it's cool.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna like I said, it's gonna take some getting used to before I really like get the hang of everything, learn some combos and shit. But
yeah,
damn, it's so pretty.
Is there something like a story mode, or is it just
yes, there is.
Dude, get out.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like it's gonna be.
I'm gonna have to give it a go.
Is that how you unlock the other characters?
I think that it's one of the ways you can unlock the other characters.
Cool.
Whenever I completed a match, I noticed I got some kind of like materials and currency.
Oh,
that might have something to do with it.
Gotcha.
But otherwise, I'm not too sure. I'm gonna have to figure it out.
That's cool, dude.
Mm-hmm.
How fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for listening to this episode. I hope that everyone else is doing well. I know we're very quickly approaching the holiday season.
Jesus.
So I know that a lot of times people's lives pick up, and I hope that everyone who out there that has got things and is busy also as well, that I hope that you're having as much productivity and joy
strong.
And happiness that I'm experiencing right now, because man, it's awesome,
mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
If not, it'll get better.
I promise you, dude. Also, this is where. Hold on. Let me put my soapbox down while I stand on it.
Oh God!
Don't be afraid to like take a chance on. I mean, just an opportunity.
Yeah.
I have been this year specifically, partially because I hit the big 3-0 this year. I have promised myself that like I don't want to say no to a fun opportunity.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have the luxury of like, being able to kind of set my own schedule in a way. So like it is nice to have that. And I know that's not everyone has that, but obviously within reason, this year specifically, I have been trying my best to just like stretch myself creatively and take opportunities and kind of put myself in a little bit uncomfortable situations to try and grow as a person and grow as an artist in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And so far, man, it's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
And so again, it may not reflect in the artistic world.
I mean, you got your moments every now and then.
And there's been some. I feel like I have overbooked myself, specifically in the September time. It was bad. It was pretty bad. But that being said, I feel like I have grown. I have done some things that I've experienced some growth creatively that I don't think I would have if I didn't put myself in this situation.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that, again, it may not reflect the same way for everyone in creative endeavors or a theater aspect or music or whatever. But like,
as
imagine
long as whatever it is gives you a sense of fulfillment, then
right.
I'd say it's
right.
worth
Whether it be volunteering somewhere, whether it be helping out with friends and family, or whatever it is, just like what I've experienced in this year specifically has just been like, get involved, do, or just get out there and just do it and put yourself in some uncomfortable situations that you can see yourself and grow a little bit,
and how uncomfortable
you are. How uncomfortable are you with it, and then I don't know. Learn more about yourself, because like I said before,
uncomfortable,
comfortable,
right? Comfort,
as I've said before, in this episode specifically, that like I have now like actually put words to feelings that I have had for a long time. Is that I really enjoy performing, and I feel like deep down I've known that, but now having experienced that feeling of like putting myself out there a little bit and feeling that feeling that it gives me, I'm like, I think I'm starting to really realize something about myself that I have been kind of like putting on the back shelf for a while.
Yeah.
That I really need to like experience
bring
more of
to the forefront a bit.
Right. And I think it's bettering me in a lot of different areas. So that's all I'm saying. Is I hope that whoever's listening to this, that can be an encouragement.
Relate to that on some level.
Right. Or can relate to that or finds that encouraging in some way. And that's all I want. I love everyone who listens to this show.
You can do it too.
We've been doing this show for long enough. And I feel like we have a pretty good listener base of people that are...
I'd like to believe so.
We have there's a lot of people who lurk, who don't comment,
boys.
who don't comment and that's okay. You don't have to.
Right.
But just know that, like,
do not associate with me.
Your listenership is appreciated. This show has been a fun outlet for Dylan and I to sit here and talk and banter and
it's needed
and crack up. And again, yes,
I'd get a voice recorder and go insane if I didn't have this show.
Yeah. As I have said before, like whenever I say we have to do this show, it's not out of we have to do this show. It's no, like we have to, like, it's because it's because I want to, and I feel like if I don't, there's something missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy doing this.
Yeah, it's been consistent too.
It has been.
Aside from maybe like
a few hiccups.
Right. There hasn't been an instance in which we just haven't recorded.
Right.
Like whatsoever.
Yeah. We've had backup plans, or we've changed certain things around, but
that's the level of importance we put on the show.
Exactly.
Like week to week.
Exactly. And so with that being said, I hope that you listen to the show and you find some sort of encouragement. If nothing else, just a nice laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you know how to find us. If you don't, obviously one of the new places that I've been,
you'll figure it out.
You're smart, Cookie. I know you got this.
Right.
This isn't your first rodeo. At least I hope not. One of the newer platforms as of the past couple of months has been YouTube, that we've really been focusing on. You can go in the search bar and type in @Hindsight Studios, where you can, subscribe to that channel and like the videos or comment there. And there may be other platforms that allow comments, but right now I think only Spotify does out of some of those.
Mm-hmm.
So you can comment there as well. Just let us know what you think of the show.
Yeah.
Because it means a lot to us. And just you tuning into this show week after week has been really important, and it's been really fun. So anyways, let me get off my soapbox. Okay, right. Now we're good. And until next week, thank you so much for listening.
See you.
Bye-bye.